Hello, advocates, and those of you that are not. My name is Mephisto, and it is my great pleasure to bring to you today more of Dark Souls 2. Now, since last time, Marcus here has gotten a bit of an upgrade. Now he can wield the Morning Star. Now he can wield his Morning Star in one hand and his little priest chime in the other. Still not as effective as wielding the Morning Star in two hands, but hey. Okay, so last time I realized that last time I went on kind of a ramble about what this game kind of means in accordance with Dark Souls 3, but I didn't really go over what this game means on its own. And yes, we still look hideous. I mean beautiful. Well, to recap, Dark Souls 1's open. Alright, that's the guy that kind of like runs up or something, I don't know. That's a friggin' idiot. He does something. I know he comes back up and he attacks me later, but hey, let's keep moving. So in Dark Souls 1, the entire point was killing the old gods, the ones that had created the world. And in Dark Souls 1, these old gods were beings that had gathered powerful souls from inside of a fire. And with these souls, they overthrew the dragons, which had been the first quintessential gods. Bye-bye, buddy. Boo. Whew. That was close. And there we go. We opened up a secret path. I do love secret paths in Dark Souls games because they always make travel, ow, a little bit easier. So these essentially these gods, three of them found powerful souls within the first fire that appeared deep in the earth. Then one of them found another soul that he used to create people, humanity, which is why and the little humanity sprites always look black, and that's kind of a big point as to why. So, having used their power to defeat the dragons, would you stop throwing shit at me? Having used their power to defeat the dragons, each one of them became essentially a god, in their own sense. Let's see here. For instance, there was Nito, who was the first of the undead. There was the Witch of Izalith that created pyromancy. Then there was Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, who created, well, light magic, which is basically what I'm using. Oop. Using their awesome superpowers, Gwyn, Nito, and Izalith beat the dragons. Gwyn and his knights tore apart their... The heck? I think that's something... I'm sorry about that, everybody. That's something I was watching yesterday. I don't know why my computer acted up again. Turned back on, but whatever. I'm hoping you can't hear it. So if you can't, I'm really hoping you can't. I'm going to keep talking over it. Shut up, computer. Just turn off already. Shush. Thank you. So using their ultra superpowers, the three gods of the world defeated the dragons and then started their own kingdoms. And it kind of follows the whole like Greek mythology, but then eventually the flame fades, the chosen undead appears, saves the world or condemns it, and you think, woo, alright, so my choice had a big impact on the world, right? No. In fact, from what we're seeing here, your choice had practically no effect on the world. Because this is actually being Dark Souls 2, this is a continuation of Dark Souls 1. And what we can surmise here is that despite the fact that you linked and/or let the flame go out, it came to life again, and a new kingdom was built over top of the old one. And this probably happened 5 or 6 times, as this game is set, I'd say, anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 years in the future of Dark Souls 1. Or from Dark Souls 1. Kingdoms rose and fell, and then finally one of the kings named Vendrick, which is the guy who rules over, or supposed to rule over this place, but is, not, appeared. Vendrick realized that this cycle had kept repeating over and over again and wanted to find a way to break it. He used up all of his, well, kind of. He wanted to find a way to break this little cycle, and then all of a sudden one day, a queen appeared. This queen was actually part of the Dark. Her name was Narshandra. We will find her later. Much, much, much later. And what she did was that she convinced the king that across the sea, the giants were plotting to attack the kingdom, and that they had something very important and very powerful that the king should go get. So what does he do? Well, like any friggin' idiot, like any man, any friggin' idiot, he follows what his woman says. And a lot of people, and then there's, of course, with this DLC, all the other kings from past kingdoms with their crowns had their own queen, and a lot of people like to think that the Emerald Herald is supposed to be yours. I don't necessarily think that's the case, as she was an experiment, but it is a wonderful theory. Okay, now, I talked about the giants just now, and we will see them later, but here's the last, quote-unquote, the last giant. Let's go into a bit about him. Look at him. Okay, so he looks up. Okay. Whoa, okay, buddy. He looks kind of mad, doesn't he? He looks pretty pissed to me. Okay. Speculation point number 1. The last giant is sometimes theorized to be the giant lord from the end, the giant lord from when the giants invaded. We'll see a little bit of this in a minute. Now, I myself am a big fan of this theory. Well, I'm a big subscriber to the theory, I guess you could say. And yes, I know that it doesn't make much sense, because if he's the last giant, and you fought, and the... Ah, crap, here's where it rips... See, this is what I mean. He is so angry at you that he is going to the lengths of ripping off his own arm to beat you. Ooh, hello there, big boy. Calm down, buddy. I'm only here to kill you. I'm only here to kill you! Please calm down. Sit down. Alright, so why do I believe that the last giant is in fact the giant lord? And it might be not even speculation anymore. People might just be accepting it as truth. But the main reason that I believe it is because up there is actually where you fight the giant lord later. That's where you fight him in another part of the game. Much later on. Here's his description. The lord of the giants who had brought wrack and ruin to the entire kingdom was said to have been felled by an unknown warrior. His beaten and broken remains were then dragged beneath the stronghold where he was sealed away. So it kind of alludes to the fact that the last giant is in fact the giant lord. And again, that was speculation from nearly 2 years ago when I first played the game. And so it might be not even conjecture anymore. People might just be going, okay, yeah, it is straight up him. But I like to think that maybe my theories are a little bit original. And so we've beaten the first boss. of this area. We're not going into the second one yet because I am out of time for today, so I'm going to go back to the bonfire. I'm going to go back to Majula, and I'll say bye-bye to you guys there. So, back to the fire. Well, first, actually, let's talk to Merchant Hag Melentia.
You again? My name is Melentia. You know, we get as strangers these days. Everybody's gone and run off. Drangleic's been up high the rubble since the war fought long, long ago. And the giants crossed the sea.
Okay, you see what I'm talking about? She's talking about the time when the giants crossed the sea.
It seemed like the battles would never end. Poor folk like myself and nary a place to sleep. That's why I keep all me things right with me. You may travel light, but methinks you bear a burden of your own. They say these trees grew from the remains of the giants. From each carcass sprouting new life growing into what you see now. Do you know what they also say? Don't believe what an old hag says. It's high time that I pick up a move. I've a bargain for you. Next time we meet, my lover. Lonely.
You know, why is that important? Why is that pertinent information? Well, she talked about the fact that giants crossed the sea, and that pretty much led the kingdom to ruin. Why in the world would giants like that thing you just saw cross the sea unless it was for something very important? Well, as you can guess, it was something very important. We're never actually told what outright told what it is. Some people suspect that it is the Lord vessel, as in this giant mansion off in the distance. Well, mansion, as in that bigger building off in the distance. There's actually a, well, not really off in the distance. Here, I'll run up to it. Because you might think that the giant Colosseum in the background is a bigger building in the distance. This thing right here, in this building's basement, there is actually a broken Lord vessel. And so some people theorize it's that. Other people theorize that it's the ability to, that it was the ability to imbue souls into inanimate objects. As every king that we had seen so far, every king that we've seen in this, that you see in this game, has the ability to do that to some degree. Vendrick does, and it's not. I don't know if it was if that's actually the case that that's how he got that ability, but he did have it. The Iron King had it, as we'll see later on. Every king in this game so far has found or had the ability to imbue souls into inanimate objects and give them life. So, it could be that. Or it could be something entirely different. Like I said, it's never outright stated what it was. But, I'm afraid that is all the time that I have for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope that you're enjoying these episodes. I really like Dark Souls 2. This is kind of in preparation for Dark Souls 3. I'm not going to do Bloodborne on the... I will do more of Bloodborne eventually. I like it. It's a fun game, though I don't like it as much as these. It kind of went back to the old Demon Souls style of really dark, whereas this game is just... I mean, there's muted color, but it's all fairly colorful. I will go back to Bloodborne eventually, but probably nowhere in the near future. Or at least probably not for about a week or two at least. But that is going to do it for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed Dark Souls 2. Tell me what you think. Tell me if there are any other games you want me to play, as I will do my best to find them and play them. And otherwise, smash that like button with all of your strength. Leave a comment. Share this to Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Reddit, whatever other social media you may have, so that others can see this and share in the laughs and the mirth. Hit subscribe so that way you can stay up to date on all the amazing things that we'll be doing on this channel in the future. And as always, I will see you in the next episode. Later, everybody!